A food delivery to the wrong address, or something more sinister? After being the victim of a vicious hate campaign from antis, hunter Saeed Rizwan is no longer sure. The Essex businessman has received hundreds of abusive messages after being smeared in an article in the Mirror newspaper for his legal international hunting. He was so scared he called the police.
They came, they've done their bit. I mean, obviously it's their duty to turn up, but they've very clearly passed the message to me that there's nothing they can do. It's a civil matter, and if we can only help if something actually happened, because nothing actually happened. And I said, I mean, this was very shocking to me, because the police, they are telling me they can't do anything.
The father of three pours hundreds of thousands of pounds into wildlife and biodiversity projects all over the world. After an article in the Daily Mirror newspaper, antis descended on him. They called him scum and filth. As the newspaper named his business, which he runs from home, it was easy for antis to track down him and his family. Saeed is protecting his family, and they have gone to stay with a relation.
When I saw the article, I was completely shocked, and more worryingly, I mean, most of the things I've said, she never mentioned those, but whatever I said, she portrayed them in a way that makes me look like a killer. And on top of that, she mentioned my company's details, my car details, my car photos, mentioned about my kids, my company registered at my home address. And the direct result for this is, I mean, I have been receiving life-threatening phone calls, emails, messages.
The reason the antis hate him is because he also hunts the wildlife he conserves. While his money pays for millions of acres of habitat, he goes into that habitat to hunt big game. He posts pictures from his hunts on Facebook, and his family and friends applaud him. The newspaper used the pictures from his social media posts without permission.
I was born in Pakistan, and I brought up in a hunting community. And to be honest, there are places in Pakistan where they only live on the money which comes from the conservation these guys do. For example, if I give you an example of Gilgit-Baltistan area in Pakistan, their only way of income is when hunter goes there and pays a trophy fee, and 80% of that trophy fee goes towards the community to build their schools, hospitals. Everything they do is out of the money which hunters give them.
Saeed's experience is nothing new, as antis and the media frequently target hunters.
Mirror's pretty lightweight, although it is a campaigning newspaper, and they've already made up their minds that they want to ban hunting. They want to ban overseas hunting by British sportsmen. So they don't approach any of these stories with an open mind. They approach it as a campaigner. So we don't have proper journalism going on here. We have a team at the Daily Mirror who are tasked with ending sport hunting abroad by British people, and they spin every story that they can to that end.
Saeed is taking action against the Daily Mirror, complaining to the newspaper ombudsman Ipso that the newspaper invaded his privacy and the privacy of his children. He's also taking out a copyright claim against the newspaper.
If there's anything we guys do to take these people to court, so they won't be doing this thing to any other person, because what they are doing, if they wanted to campaign about trophy hunting, they should be just campaigning about trophy hunting itself. If they wanted to write an article about me, why took it personal? Why she was mentioning my family, my kids, my business? That means they have something else. They have agenda is something else. I mean, obviously, what I believe, they are working for money.
Saeed said he was misrepresented. Hunting tourism pays for most of the wildlife and biodiversity in southern Africa. Instead, the journalist chose to describe his actions as vile and disturbing in her article. The Daily Mirror photographer snapped Saeed and his vehicle at his home, which the Mirror chose to print and put out online. The journalist highlighted the most obvious part of his vehicle number plate too. This makes it easy to identify him in his hometown of Rainham.
I was quite shocked. I mean, at the same time, I was worried about it as well. I mean, I was thinking, I don't know what will be the outcome of it. I mean, I didn't even know that from the cars behind, they are actually recording me or taking my photographs and stuff. I mean, I just woke up in my pajamas and all that. It was horrible, very horrible.
As a result of the first article, other newspapers and media outlets have published the story without contacting Saeed. And animal rights extremists have posted pictures of one of his children on social media.
It is actually media bullying, and these people can get away with that, and we have to do something to stop them, because what I have gone through, or the people like me have gone through, I mean, people have lost their livelihoods, their business, their work. I mean, some people got, been expelled from their jobs. So it is bad.
As a person living in the real world, you have to understand there are predators out there in the press who want to use us to feed their stories, and they're hunting for us. So don't give them anything if you don't know, if you're not prepared for it to come back and become an issue for you to deal with.
Saeed is disappointed the police do not offer more protection as a crime prevention measure. Former Detective Ian Jensen says forces are in a difficult position.
The threats to kill requires specific intent by the person making the threat, and that intent is that the individual would receive the threat and believe it. And it's hard really to get that kind of evidence unless the person either tells you that's what they intended, or whether it's obvious from what they've done, their actions and their behaviour. Now, writing it on social media, I mean, everyone's writing threats to kill to everybody, aren't they, on social media? Everyone gets very upset, very irate, and it seems to be a platform where people's agitations are amplified. I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that this hasn't impacted on Mr. Rezwan, I'm sure it has, but from the police point of view, they probably just see a lot of activists just demonstrating how angry they are about what's happened, mostly to other activists, to say, look, this is how angry I feel, especially on a pile-on like this.
I called the police straight away. I've called them actually few times. They came twice and they said, look, there's nothing we can do to help you until something happens. And I said, well, that's a very good protection from you guys. So basically, I don't know. I mean, last night we all have to flee the house, and I went to my brother's house just to be safe, because all of these so-called anti-hunters, they can turn up and they are saying we are going to come to you and we're going to trash you in the same way what you did to these animals.
Saeed's experience is mirrored across the world too. Robbie Kroger of Pro Hunting Channel Blood Origins in America says hunters are constantly fighting the tide of lies from antis.
The practice of hunting is completely legal, completely sustainable, and is saving habitat and wildlife all over the world. Nada, you are the environmental editor of a newspaper article, and you didn't bother to even look for the slightest bit, kernel of truth behind what he might have been saying that could actually be right. What kind of journalist doesn't even bother to do any research?
Despite the abuse, Saeed won't give up hunting.
I believe what I'm doing is actually for the good of animals. I mean, it's for what I'm doing. I think I'm actually saving the animals going to be extinct. What they are doing is actually they are not helping them. They are causing more problems for people like us who conserve, and eventually, like I gave an example already for Kenya, the animal will be vanished from this world. And this is why I think it's more important.
The Mirrors campaign, these people's decision that they really, really want to push trophy hunting ban, you know what it's going to do? It's going to lead to hundreds of thousands of people all around the world to have their livelihoods affected. Poverty, job loss, no meat provisions anymore to people.
If you've been the victim of bullying from antis or the media, please contact us.